instead of having 2 budget constraints, we have 1 budget constraint. It goes through the center of wherever, there are a lot of Pareto optimums. You just draw a budget constraint through the center, right? What it all depends on, of course, is how much money you give each person. So in this case, B has a large budget constraint, and A has a small budget constraint, right? A only has like $20. He has like 100. And here it's more or less even, right? They both have the same budget constraint. So, let me keep this up. But this says something a little bit more profound than just that when you have 2 people in one economy, you can sort of see where their tendency meets. What it says is, I'll show you. I'll be done soon, I promise. What it says is, if you take a market economy, right, and you give people fair wages, as in you give them as much, you basically pay people as much as you're going to charge for your prices. So if the company makes 0 profit, and the people don't buy anything out more or less than the company produces, right, you are always going to be at a Pareto optimum. So the market economy, in theory, will give 0 profit to the company and 0 profit to the workers. No one comes out on top of anyone else, right? And now let's say you've got your communist guy who plays, well, the free market, what capitalism is all about is profit, right? And you show him the Edgeworth box, and you say, okay, why don't you redistribute wealth, right? What he will say, he says, oh, well, obviously you give people as much as you can, and you don't let the company have any profit, which is exactly what capitalist economists are saying. So why would you not have a dictator? It seems like things would just run much smoother if you had, a dictator say, we're just going to give everything out evenly. People are going to work a certain amount, as much as we're going to give them a certain amount of money, and then they can buy all the goods in the economy, and everyone will just get the same number of goods, and everyone will be happy, right? Agreed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh dear. I'm afraid you are neither right nor wrong because the debate continues. But here's my humble opinion as someone who has taken a basic economics class.
This isn't going to make a presumption on human nature, is it?
A little bit. Not really.
That's the problem with economics.
No. See, here's the trick. It's not going to make any presumption about human nature because we're talking positively, not normatively. Positive economics, the economics of what we positively know. Normative economics, the economics of what should be. So, really, yes, you will end up with the same thing. But here's the problem. If you just say that, if the social planner just says, right, everyone gets equal goods.
It's like a
what?
It's a
It's a button. Okay.
It's a butt crack.
No, it's not a butt crack. Just have like a butt crack slide. That's the small thing. Okay. If the social planner says everyone's equal, right? That's all well and good. Everyone gets the same amount. Perhaps everyone survives. But you really don't know how much person A contributed to the economy and how much person B contributed to the economy. You just know that in the end they produced the lump sum of a number of goods, right? You put them in a dark room, make them make, I don't know, guns. And that sounds kind of dangerous. That's a bad idea. Scratch that. They make apples. And at the end of the day, no one knows how many apples person A made and how many apples person B made. You just know that there were a certain number of apples, right? But in a market economy, and so here it just has to be on the whim of the dictator. Maybe the dictator likes person B a lot more than like person A. That would be a shame, especially for person A. But in the market economy, it's all done by price, right? And all done by wages. So if person A makes like 3 apples, and person B makes like 10 apples, then person A is going to get paid a lot less than person B because someone's keeping track. In a dictatorship, they can't really keep track. you know, they might be able to keep track of, oh, that factory did better, or this factory did better, but you're never going to be able to keep track of the individual. In a capitalist economy where, like, individuals are paid or hired based on their kind of merits, meritocracy, so to speak, another term I coined, then you're going to give out in my opinion, the wages a lot more fairly, if not more evenly. And so I guess that's the end of my talk. I'm going to open it up to questions, but that's essentially why market economics is better. Conservatives all one. Yes.
You mentioned bliss points before.
Oh, right, bliss points. Sorry, I forgot all about that. Okay, a bliss point looks like this. It's a fun little thing. And so, back to Becky here.
Wonderful.
Becky's eating her apple.
I wonder if it's near the butt crack.
And no, it's not a butt crack. Okay, so after one apple, right, you're fine. After, or one gun, one apple, you're fine. 2 guns and 2 apples is great, right? You have 2 hands and 2 apples is about as much as it takes to eat, right? After 3 apples, right? Or 3 guns and 3 apples, you're just like, what the fuck? What am I doing with this extra apple? What am I doing with this extra gun? And so really this utility curve doesn't look like that. What it looks like is this, right? And at the center on 2 and 2, there's a bliss point. And if you give the person, you know, 1 and 1, or half and half, right? Or 4th and 4th, they'll be unhappy with that. And if you give them 3 and 3, they'll also be less happy with that. And so this person's ideal budget constraint is going to be here. If you put their budget constraint up here, they're just going to go like, buy that, and then they're going to burn the rest of their money. And if they're down here, they are going to just work like as if there were no bliss point. They're just going to go tangent to the budget curve, and well, you saw it. I'm not going to do it again.
So essentially what you're saying is happiness depends on moderating the amount of material goods that you
Not necessarily. Because remember, we are not talking about happiness here, we're talking about utility. So
What if they say
maximizing your utility in this case for this individual depends on moderation. On the other hand, you could give them $1 million and then you just have a lot of kindling.
No. What if they save it? Or
What if they save it? Well, if you want to stay here for another hour and a half, I can tell you about multi-period budget constraints. Essentially, that looks like here. If you're curious, this is what it looks like. This. If the person can save money, then they have let's see, they have their wages times labor in period 1 equals the price of consumption times consumption plus the number of bonds they buy, right? This is the money they save. And then period 2 plus the interest rate times the number of bonds they saved, and the amount of money they put into bonds in period 1 equals the price of consumption times consumption in period 2, this is period 1, plus bonds in period 2. And so basically, yes, they can save up money. And so what the utility function would look like is this. And it's actually, this is kind of cool, actually. The utility would be utility in period 1 plus beta times utility in period 2 plus beta 2 in and so over the course of their lifetime, what they do is right now they have a certain utility from goods. They discount a little bit. They say, well, I'd rather have $10 today than $11 tomorrow, right? And so you're going to have a modifier. This is going to be less than 1, right? And this is going to be less than 1, and probably also less than beta 2. And so as their life goes on, they're going to say, well,